Hello people, I'm Ginny Metheral, I'm a fourth generation witch. It's Halloween, it's one of the best times of the year. All sorts is going on, we're incredibly busy as witches during Halloween, but this is also the time of year when the veil between the worlds is at its thinnest. And what this means is that we can directly communicate with the world of spirit. So today's video is how to safely communicate beyond the veil. So Samhain, or Halloween, as I'm going to call it throughout this video because I'm a traditional old-fashioned witch, Samhain is just the old-fashioned pagan name for this time of year. And I'm not a pagan, I'm just a witch. And so I've been brought up to say Halloween. So as a result, I'm going to. Now, this time of year is when the veil between the worlds is at its thinnest, and this means that there is an easier pathway for spirit communication. This is not a sort of single day. It doesn't just go, right, the veil is now at its thinnest. It is a gradual lessening of the drift between the worlds, so they come together easier. And so you can really enhance spirit communication from about now. And this will last until around the whole of November. And November is known in every culture, in pretty much every part of the world, as the time for the dead. And there's a reason for it. It's because we can communicate with them. So there are issues with communicating beyond the veil, wherever and whenever you do this. You don't necessarily know, when you communicate with the dead, who you're communicating with. You know, it could be your great Aunt Marge, or it could be the demon from hell. You just don't know. So there are some safety precautions that I would beg that you involve yourself with if you're going to do any of this. And these safety precautions are basic witchcraft. It's what we all do as witches all of the time. So what this means is that you can then ask the spirits of the world to come in. You can talk to them and know that it is your great Aunt Marge and not the demon from hell. I mean, you might not necessarily know the difference between your great Aunt Marge and a demon from hell anyway. However, you can be sure of your provenance of your spirit. Demons from hell can sound just like your great Aunt Marge, your Uncle Peter, your old mum. They have the ability to lie, to talk to you about things that they know about you, to repeat stuff that only your mother might know. They might have been hanging around watching you as this was happening, hence why they can tell you about it. And you don't want to communicate with them. This is why Ouija boards are so dangerous, because the only thing that is moving that glass is either the people around the table or a demonic entity. So just don't use them. Spirits physically cannot move a Ouija board glasses. They just can't. They have to do it through the medium of demonic entities. So therefore, just don't do a Ouija board. You will definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, 100% be talking to something that you really, really, really want to avoid. So before you start any kind of spirit communication, it's very important to keep yourself clean. This is not just yourself, but your aura, your spirit aura. So it is incredibly important to begin any session with a thorough cleanse. Now, I'm not just talking about yourself. You need to cleanse anybody else who happens to be around and that you're going to involve in this, say if you're doing a séance. Cleanse them with smoke. If you don't like smoke, you can use aromatherapy. If you don't like aromatherapy and you don't like smoke, cleanse them with water. Make sure everyone has a bath or a shower. It is one of the best ways to cleanse people. Water is very good at taking negative energies off people, especially salt water. In the sea. So going for a swim in the sea is a wonderful way of cleansing. Once you've made sure that everyone, including you and your friends, are all cleansed beautifully, you need to cleanse the space that you're working in. Now, the reason why you're cleansing is so that you're banishing any demonic or negative entities or energies from the space that you're in, because they might be the ones communicating with you, and you just don't want that. There's no good will come of it. I particularly like cleansing my room with a bell, especially at Halloween. Cleansing my room with a bell harks back and reverts back to those pagan ancestral ways where they rang bells all the time. If you've ever been to a Catholic mass, they're always ringing bells. And this is partly because they took on this tradition from the pagans in order to banish negative entities. I mean, they have other words. They say it's for other things now, to pay attention or to call down the Holy Spirit or whatever they say it is. But essentially, it's to get rid of those nasty things that are hanging around. So I do like to use a bell, but you can use whatever you prefer. If you don't have a bell, you can clap. I'm very good at clapping, especially into those dark corners, under the bed, behind the stairs, in that dank cupboard underneath the sink. Those are perfect places to clap. And if you don't want to clap, why not play some loud rock music? It is the vibrational energy of that music which will get rid of the demonic entities if you put your intention into it. The second thing you need to do before you start is to cast a circle. Now, if you are a witch and you cast circles all the time, I am teaching you to suck eggs. However, if you're not, simply pick up your wand or your crystal or whatever you're going to cast a circle with. You can cast it with your hands, and pointing at the floor and moving round, say, I cast this circle, let nothing harmful be allowed within it. And say those words as many times as you like. If you're particularly good at this sort of spirit communication and you want particularly strong protection, you can cast a circle and then add a pentagram in the middle of it, like I have here. This is an incredibly safety protective sign. It will absolutely keep out all sorts of terrible. And in fact, when I needed to open portals to hell in order to banish entities back to it, I would be standing in the middle of a pentacle so that I couldn't be dragged there too. Now, have I scared you enough by saying, make sure that you put all your safety precautions in place? Well, once you've done that, how would you communicate with the spirits? Well, the easiest way is to ask them to join you. So say to them, I ask, great Uncle Peter to join me in my circle. And then when you feel that there might be a presence, that feeling that someone's come in, that's when he's there. Don't overthink this. If you ask for a spirit or a deity to join you, they pretty much will, unless there's particular reasons that they can't. So just go ahead and call on them, and then wait until you feel them. A perfect place to do this is actually in the bath, because you can light some candles, cast a nice circle, get your incense going, and open your mind. Lying in a bath and connecting with the world of spirit is it's a very good way of doing something along these lines, because the water promotes conductivity of energy. So it promotes that feeling that you can understand and you can hear and you can cross over to speak with spirits. So if you are struggling to do this just in a normal environment, try it in the bath. I used to do this in the bath too. However, when the spirits then came in, I realised I was lying naked in the bath and I didn't like that very much. And so I took to wearing some bathing costumes in the bath, or I put bubbles in the bath. Actually, I used to cover myself in bubbles was the other way I'd get round this particular one. However, you might not care. I mean, the spirits don't, but we humans, sadly, we do, don't we? The third way, which is a really good way to try and communicate with spirits, especially at this time of year, is to do it via your dreams. So what I would do is I would cast a circle around my bed before I went to sleep, having done all my cleansing and my ritual bathing, etc., etc. And then I'd make sure I've got a pen and paper by my bed so that in the morning, once I've had my dreams, I can immediately write them down, and then you will have some extraordinary experiences. I do like spirit communication. And, mediumship is one of my favourite things to teach people. I really enjoy seeing how everybody can really get into the groove and learn to speak with spirits. It's almost like something clicks in their brain and they're like, oh, yeah, I'm speaking to spirits. If you'd like to learn it, subscribe on my website to ginnymetheral.co.uk. And if you don't want to learn anything, you can support me as a creator so I can make these videos for you. And in the meantime, don't forget to like and subscribe and have a very spooky and exciting Halloween. And I will see you in my next video.